Hey, today we're going to be doing a short practice to demonstrate how to use a yoga block for beginners. So the entire practice we're going to be doing is going to be with a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block yet and you're kind of curious to practice along to maybe make up your decision if you want to invest in one, then instead of using a yoga block, you could always find something that's a similar shape. You want something heavy and secure. So often something like a high book could be helpful, rather than a cushion that's a bit softer and won't give you that same sort of firm support. Now, to begin with, we're going to start sitting on the yoga block to give a little bit more height and space in the hips and to allow the upper body to be a little more long and open. So you can take your yoga block, depending on the height of your yoga blocks and the sort of openness of your hips. You might be choosing to sit on one yoga block, or you may choose to kind of raise that and sit up on two. So for now, I'm just going to put this to the side. For me, one is of this height feels perfect. So your feet can be opening, or you can be in a cross-legged position. You can just rest the hands on the thighs and take a moment to softly close your eyes. Now, once the eyes are closed, you can really bring focus towards your hips, towards your sitting bones, feeling them resting nice and heavy in your block. And the nice thing with the block, the surface is pretty flat and heavy. So hopefully you'll find that nice, even kind of support and balance between both hips. You can just soften the face, relax around the shoulders, really allow the weight of the hips to sink down into your block, and at the same time allowing the upper body to lengthen up and extend up away from the block. We'll just stay here 10 breaths. So it can be sometimes the block can feel a little hard. So if that's happening for you, see if you can just adjust the position slightly and just allow that weight of the hips to be heavy in your block. Breathing is slowing down. Focus is drawing inwards. And then at the end of the next breath, you can start to slowly open your eyes. So, as I said, in the practice today, we're going to be using the blocks throughout. You don't need to do this necessarily with every practice, but it can be useful now and again just to get a different experience and get familiar with using the blocks. So we're first going to do one sun salutation with both of the blocks at the front of the mat. So this will be really nice to get that extra height and space in the shoulders. So blocks want to be kind of firm. We're going to come forward on the inhale. And we're going to do a sun salutation B. So you're going to sit low with the hips. Arms are coming up on your inhale. And then exhale, folding forward. Hands come on the blocks. Head drops down. Inhale, now using that extra height, you could still come up onto the fingertips as you gaze forward. Exhale, ground the hands into the blocks. So you want blocks to be heavy here. We step to our plank. You can lower down, maybe see how it feels to lower down, still hands on the blocks. And then inhaling, opening through the chest, press the hands into the blocks, maybe lift up through the hips here. And then exhale, you can tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, and come to your downward dog. Now you want the hands to be heavy and spreading around the blocks here. Breathing slowly in and out through your nose. And then we're going to step the right foot forward, left heel grounds. Inhaling from here, coming up to that warrior one. Exhaling, hands ground onto the block. You can step back through the plank, lower down on the exhale. Inhaling, opening here through the chest. And exhaling back to your downward dog. We'll step the left foot forward. There's that extra height, so that can feel quite nice for the step. Reach the arms high on your inhale. Exhale to lower again, all the way back down. Again, you could drop the knees. Inhaling, opening through the chest. And exhaling, hips up and back for your downward dog. Now, your choice, you could stay in downward dog, or you could stay a few breaths, child's pose. Again, hands could be on the blocks to give that extra space for the shoulders. Staying here 2 more breaths, so either child's pose or downward dog. And then on the inhale, you can come all the way forward, opening here through the chest. Exhale as you fold forward over the legs. Sit low with the hips, reach the arms up on the inhale, and then straightening the legs and lowering the arms back down again. Great. Now we're going to be moving from side to side, so it can feel handy to have one block on both sides, so we're not constantly moving the blocks. We're going to have our right foot facing forward, our left foot coming out, and we're coming to our triangle pose here. So arms are coming wide. Exhale, right hand comes down, and this is where you can find the block. Really allow your shoulder and your wrist to be in one line. Left arm comes up here. If you wanted that extra height, you could still be up on the fingertips. That can feel quite nice here. If you wanted to go a little lower, you could experiment coming to a lower height of the block. So we've got 3 heights here of the block. And then from here, we're going to bend the right knee, come to our side angle. So right hand stays on the outside, left arm comes overhead. Right. If you were doing this without the block, of course, you could have the arm on the thigh. But if you're using the block, you can kind of sink the hand a little more down to the outside of the leg. And then inhaling from here, coming all the way up, pivot the feet, and we'll come to the opposite side. So triangle pose on the left side, left arm comes down, right arm comes up. Again, you can find the block here. I personally like the highest height here. You can see what that feels like for you. If you wanted to stack blocks, you can also stack them to give that extra height, or come up to the fingertips. And then from here, we're going to come to our side angle. So you can, if you like, lower the block down. Again, fingertips can give that sort of in-between height as you need here. Right arm comes over to the left side. Nice. Staying here 2 more breaths. And then inhaling from here, slowly coming back up, bringing your feet towards the middle. And from here, we'll just step to the center and take a moment to shake through the legs. Great. So we're going to practice a little our balance now, standing on a block. So standing on a block makes your balance more challenging. So it's a great way to work on improving the balance. So you can bring your block on the lowest height here, stepping with your right foot on the block. And then you're going to reach your left leg back, drop that left hand a little down here. Right knee could be a little bent if you need. And then stepping back here onto the ground. So left foot comes onto the ground. And inhale, you can bring the right knee into the chest. We'll do this a couple of times. So right foot comes onto the block. If you didn't want to come to that full balance, you could be with the left big toe on the mat, just leaning a little forward. If you're comfortable, left leg comes back. You start to lean a little forward and then slowly coming back forward, you can shift off the block and inhale, right knee comes in. And we'll do this one more time on this side. So shifting the weight into the right leg, left leg comes back. You start to lean a little forward and then keep that heaviness through the block. Left foot comes down and inhale, bring that right knee up. We'll change sides. So now left foot comes onto the block. We're going to balance on that left leg. So right big toe first might step a little back. You might start here. So you're really supporting yourself with that left foot. And then you're seeing how it feels to lift that right foot up. Maybe extend the left leg. You want to keep gazing forward. Right hand might drop. And then you're slowly coming back. See if you can step that right foot next to you. Balance on that right leg and hug the left knee in. We'll do this a couple of times. So left foot comes onto the block. Right foot shifts back. You can slowly extend the right leg back. Slowly dropping that little bit forward. And then inhaling, coming slowly back up. Shifting the weight. Left knee comes in. And we'll do this one more time. So left foot comes again onto the block. Drawing that right leg back. Leaning from here forward. Left big toe stays heavy. And then slowly inhale, come back up. Releasing. Last time, left knee into the chest. And then you can gently release and shake through the legs. We're going to come down to sitting and sit down on the block here. So you can come with your hips on the block. And we're going to come to our wide Baddha Konasana, the butterfly shape, feet together, knees apart. If you wanted that extra support, you could be right into the wall here. Otherwise, you can be here away from the wall. Hands resting to the outside of the knees. You can just gently use a little bit of the weight of the arms to drop the knees down. And at the same time, you're lengthening up through the spine. Gaze could be looking a little forward. So a bit like when we were sitting at the beginning, having the extra height of the block gives you more space in the hips to lengthen through the spine and to potentially lean a little forward, so coming forward into the hip flexors here. We'll stay here 2 more breaths. And then you can slowly exhale, release, knees come in together. Any seated pose you like, you can try that extra height of the block here, by the way. From here, we're going to come to lie down on the back. And again, we're having one block handy close to our hands here. So you can come to lie down. Your feet are flat on the floor, hips are heavy. We're going to lift the hips up, and to begin with, you might try that flattest, lowest height of the block under the sacrum, so the flat part of your lower back here. Your hips are heavy, your legs are nice and heavy here. Hands can rest on the belly, Eyes could close. If you're quite comfortable here with the legs bent, you could try extending the legs a little. This feels a little uncomfortable. You could be kind of halfway or with the feet kind of right below the knees. And you're just really allowing here the hips to be heavy, shoulders to be heavy, and letting the pace of your breath slow down. And slowly from here, then release. So you lift the hips a little higher, slide the block out. And then you can come to maybe a counter pose, feet together, knees apart. If you prefer legs outstretched, just straight out in front of you, you could do that instead. We'll just come to relax a few breaths here. And to make this pose a little bit more gentle, if it feels intense, you could just slide the blocks kind of under the knees. So then we're still opening, but there's a bit more support around the hips here. So that can also feel quite nice for that last relaxation. We'll stay here 5 more breaths. And then you can start to slowly deepen through your breath. Bring the knees gently into your chest. Roll from here over onto one side. And come back up to sitting again. So thanks for joining me through this short practice where we were exploring the possibilities of yoga blocks. Hopefully what you saw there, similar if you actually followed the other class on using a yoga strap, is a yoga block isn't always about making it easier. It's about making the posture more effective. So all of our bodies are different. We have different proportions. And so sometimes if, for example, the arm length is slightly different to the leg length, it can be super helpful and more effective in the posture to use a block in a certain position. So if you'd like to integrate short practices like this one into a sort of home practice routine, check out the free resource I've got. You can find a link for that below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the class, and I'll see you next time.